Yeah.
Hello, everybody! And,
No, we're live.
I forgot I had to wait for you to record.
That scared
Okay.
the shit out of me.
I forgot I had to let you record. Whoops. But it is recording now.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 23 of the Degenerates podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tony, and we've got Mike.
Yeah.
And
Mr.
and
Boomer
we have a guest.
himself. We have a guest.
Is that my name?
Yep.
Mr. Boomer.
Well, you're
You're
also
Mr. Boomer.
Mr. Boomer. Mr. White Collar. Wait, no, I'm White Collar.
That's a good one.
Blue Collar.
Yeah.
Blue Collar Boomer.
Collar.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Blue Boomer.
Blue Collar Boomer.
Blue Boomer.
Here we go.
Blue Baller Boomer.
Blue baller? Oh no, that's not good.
So, Blue Baller. In this episode, we usually talk about a subject, but we were going to have Biggs from the Mumkey and Big Show on this episode, but he ghosted us. So we were gonna talk about video games, but we're not gonna do that anymore. We're about philosophical hell to test our own
Shit.
Yeah,
you just broke up for a little bit, but I think it's fine.
Okay, thank God that's not just me. I was like, I'm just gonna fucking.
Yeah, I think it's just I think it's just Tony's internet.
Well, blue collar keeps cutting out for me.
Oh shit.
So, I'm not sure, but
that boomer internet because he doesn't need it.
I'm actually using data because my Wi-Fi sucks.
Oh
so
shit,
much.
that's fucking. That's fucking. Just go to a fucking internet cafe.
Yeah, because we have those here.
Exactly.
We live in
bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I've got it open.
Me too.
So do I, but I don't know how to start taking it. Oh, it says let's start.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay.
So we're gonna each do questions.
So are we supposed to do this like secretly, silently, and tell each other the results, or are we gonna argue about each question?
We're gonna argue about them, each one, and then we're gonna be done.
Let's do this first one then. There are no objective moral standards. Moral judgments are merely an expression of the values of particular culture. And that's dumb. That's stupid. There are no objective moral standards.
Objective. I mean, there are things that are better than other things.
Objectively, that's what a moral standard is.
Yeah.
Like, murder is bad for every human that's ever existed. No human wants to be murdered. No sane
That is
human.
true.
Yeah,
except
there
for
are
like weird people.
Yeah, but no, those are just
a lot of the extreme crimes would probably be considered like objective moral standards.
Yeah.
Or how about this? There's no group of humans who would rather see their group diminish than grow. Every single group of humans ever has always had their core philosophy that their group's particular way of life should grow. Rather than diminish. Like, you'll never find the opposite. So there's an objective moral standard.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
that makes sense. That is a reasonable argument that I will agree with.
It's one debate one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've debated
I think that there are some objective moral standards.
Alright.
So yeah, I'll disagree.
You know what actually
would
maybe be more fun? Okay, so
what?
we gotta put down the answers first, and like that's your answer locked in, and then we'll debate about it. Okay? So
I was thinking about that too. That'll and then we can't switch what we say.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So long as they do not.
I think I fucked up.
So long as they do not harm others, individuals should be free to pursue their own ends.
All right. Cue the Jeopardy.
Do 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 do.
I picked.
I don't want to say what I said. but you'll figure it out soon. Liam, why don't you start with the justification for your answer?
Well, I'll just say what I said because apparently we've already all picked.
Mm-hmm.
So I agreed.
Did you?
I agreed. Fuck. What was? I can't remember what it was
So
for some
long
reason.
as they do not harm others, individuals should
Oh
be
yeah,
treated-
okay. I agreed because I think that one of that's the thing that it should be one of the most important things would be like pushing yourself forward, and you should also try and minimize or try not to harm other people at like as much as you can while you're pushing forward on your own journey.
Well, I didn't take it that way. Well, I kind of took it as you should be able to do whatever you want until you, quote unquote, harm others. And I don't think that maybe is the best way to run a society. I think that, and really this is very like unformulated, but I think that maybe the more strict at least societal norms are, like maybe you shouldn't restrict what people can do by law, but at least attaching social stigma to like behaviors that you find unacceptable, and you can get more people on the same page in society to a certain set of morals and values. In my opinion, you can progress as humanity in a better direction. When you have more people that are libertarian and individualistic, it's everyone's going in a different direction, and then you don't have uniting narrative.
I think this, like, not harm others could be a kind of uniting narrative, though. Like, could be, like, we are, like, kind of like the Canadian, like, stereotype that we're all nice.
But it's so base level.
It is
Like,
very
it's
base
not-
level, but this
it-
is a
it-
very
it-
basic, this is a very basic test.
Yeah, for sure. But I what I mean is that it's so base level for that to be the bar. Like, you can do whatever you want as long as it doesn't harm others. It's like,
I think harm others
okay, that's
is like a
everything.
blanket term.
But that's not
And
everything.
that's
There's a
the
lot
other
of
thing.
stuff that you can do that will hurt other people.
Oh my god. But there's a lot more you can do that wouldn't. And there's a lot more that we find unacceptable in today's society and in societies past that did not harm others and that people go to jail for. Drug use.
I would even say, like, I would add intentionally
What
harm
about hate
others.
speech? What about, like, what harms others? Because people will claim that hate speech harms them. What if you say
I'm
something
saying
that harms
intentionally
themselves?
harm. So if you act in a way
I
that
don't
you...
think
even
that
worse.
people should go to jail for drug use or for hate speech.
No, I know that. But I'm just saying those are two... I'm not saying that you do support that. I'm just saying that those are two things, two examples of what our society supports today that go against that basic philosophy, right? And so
Mhm.
what I'm saying is, if our entire society has agreed on those two things, you might be surprised that maybe you think something like that as well. If you really don't, then more power to you, I guess. But, sorry, no,
Yeah.
I probably lost that debate. I think Liam won that one.
What?
Liam's pretty good.
I barely
tried-
said anything.
I tried to be edgy, and it didn't work out.
Society! Next one. Alright, I'll read out this one. People should not journey by car if they can walk, cycle, or just take the train instead.
Oh my god, I want to start this one off because I can't agree with this more. I have a personal vendetta against cars, and it's not just the stupid climate change, Greta Thunberg, whatever, alright?
Yeah.
I think that another symptom of a healthy society is to have people seeing each other. All what cars have accomplished on a societal level is like, yeah, we can go fast. But we're also completely isolated from our entire community at all times.
Oh.
And because we can travel such distances at the blink of an eye, it's like we don't even have a community. Are you a community of one town if you can be in another town within a
Yeah.
half hour?
Mhm.
I absolutely hate it. And the thing with that also is in Canada, the country we're in. Obviously, everything used to be united by railroads, and after oil and gas industries started really taking over all sectors of government, they became a major player. All those railroads got torn up so that people had to buy cars. All the cities that were built historically beautifully, they started getting torn up so that you could have a grid system and everything would be concrete roads. Like, I do not support cars at all, and I think if in your city right now it's possible for you to travel great distances by train and walk and bike to work or to like anywhere you need to go inner city, you should do that.
Yeah.
I would also agree with that. When I took the bus, I would have never met some people that I would have missed out on if I hadn't met them. Like a mentally disabled person. I had a conversation with someone like that, and it was a good experience, I felt, because it got me out of my comfort zone. If I was just driving along in a car, nothing like that happens.
Not only would nothing like that happen, I think that people who drive in cars, like, isolated.
Exactly.
It's not baseline. You become more cynical about other people.
Especially because it's all about you and your car when you're in traffic. Since you can't really see past the windshield and see like all these other cars in the exact same situation that you're in.
Yeah, or at least not the people in them, right? And even if you could, you wouldn't care. Like, people have to be, in order to care about others, they have to be risking their own social status at the and no one's going to know who you are if you're in a car. So I think we killed that one. Liam, what did you say for it?
I agree with you guys, but also I think that having a car is almost a necessity today in small towns and stuff, because everybody else has a car, and it can be very hard to it can be very hard to, since everybody has a car, a lot of people in small towns won't stay in the small town in order to have fun or do anything. And it can be harder for you to find stuff to do. And I feel like it, before cars and when people had to stay in the same areas, it was probably easier to find people to hang out with around you. But it's a lot harder now if you're just from a small town. So today, cars might be almost a necessity for people who live in a small town.
I think it is a necessity. I think it is a modern necessity.
I don't think it's a necessity. What I think is that, well, you know what? For small town, it can be a necessity. But I think that if you took it away, community growth, if you brought back trains that connected all these small towns to all sorts of larger cities, and like this entire country was by a network of trains, you wouldn't have any of the problem that you have today. You can get to city by train and then bike or walk in your own town. You're pretty okay.
Yeah. See, I would like something like a network of like electric fucking trains, dude. That would be amazing.
I want steam trains, bro. They look so fucking
cool.
Dude,
steam trains, they use coal, dude. They use coal and wood.
No, they use steam.
How do you think they get the steam?
But they look so cool.
They look cool, I'll give you that.
Electric trains look like shit. I hate this postmodern bullshit. It's just a fucking...
No, it's not postmodern, it's innovation.
It looks like... I'm talking about the fucking... what they put on the train, which is nothing. It's just a little snake. Just, zoop. I hate it.
Yeah, but they're fast.
Liam, read this next question out.
Okay. It is always wrong to take another person's life.
Oh. Well.
Fuck.
Oh. That's actually horribly tough.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty simple.
I got my answer. I gotta stop calling you. What's your pseudonym, Tony?
It's Tony.
Lemonades? Or Tony Lemonades?
Lemonades, right? Or Lemonades, okay.
Lemonades.
I kind of forgot, but... So what did you guys say for this one?
I said disagree, even though I know that it's like a trick question, because you can do whatever you want as long as you don't harm people. Yeah. But, like, what if your life is threatened? Like, I think that it's okay if someone threatens your life to be able to duke it out with them.
Well...
I think it's fine.
You know, I want to hear your opinion, Liam, because mine. You guys aren't gonna like mine.
Okay.
I said that it is that it should it's okay if you are defending yourself, basically. So it's not always wrong.
So, I don't know if wrong is a really good term to use for that question. I kind of took it as it is always a sin to take another person's life.
Oh.
And that I do believe is true. Is it always wrong to take another person's life? Well, I imagine what they mean is it's always morally wrong, which is basically the same thing as sin. But sometimes you absolutely have no choice, or something.
Like, even in the Bible's like, okay, yeah, you can kill
I
people.
know. But it's still a sin. You
It's
know
still
what
a
I'm saying?
sin.
Like,
But Adam's,
there's still a weight to it. I mean, that's
but
kind of what I'm
Abraham
saying.
still goes to heaven. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, but there's still a weight to it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not saying that there's no repercussions. There's definitely psychological repercussions that come with that.
But I mean, like on
moral,
the soul, man.
Yeah.
So I do believe if by taking it through that, I do believe that it, in a way, always wrong to.
Okay. Next question. Blue collar, do you want to read this one out?
Sure. The right to life is so fundamental that financial considerations are irrelevant in any effort to live. I don't really know what this is asking.
It's basically asking, like, if you're, like, on...
So, like, I should go broke so that little Timmy doesn't die of cancer?
No, that's not what it is. It's saying
that's kind
the
of what
right
it
to
is.
life... No, financial considerations for the person. So if the person's poor and they have, like, a disease, you heal them.
Then we should pay for it.
No, I thought I kind of took it the way blue collars saying it.
Now, this is a... No. Fuck that, but...
Like, overall financial? I'm thinking that it's just, like, the individual.
Well, this sounds like a socialist question.
It is.
This sounds like globalism. This sounds like, hey, Africa sucks. We should give them our money.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
I'm reading it like someone's in a hospital and they're going to die. And they're poor. They can't afford the thing. But then we have, in Canada, we have free healthcare.
Universal healthcare, yeah.
Universal healthcare, yeah. So that's how I'm taking it. I'm taking this as a universal healthcare question.
But it's bigger than that. It's the right to life is so fundamental. So it's not just the right. It's not just the right to healthcare. So
I think it is. I think the right to life is. Yeah.
Debate me in the ring.
Okay, where do you want to put the ring?
What? I think I already lost.
Your mind is too small. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't think... Here's the thing. I'm really bipolar when it comes to whether I lean authoritarian or whether I lean libertarian. And this is one of the examples of when I lean libertarian. Because I absolutely should not be... And this is how I take it, right? Is that we should... Financial considerations are irrelevant to save life. So, if you were to live by that philosophy, you would be vindicated in stealing someone's money to save a life, because their money not only doesn't come close to superseding that life, but you're justified in doing that to save a life. That's how important the right to life is. Now, I love the right to life. I think life is pretty cool. But you shouldn't be able to... It doesn't justify something like that, right? The right to life is so fundamental that, I don't know how to explain this. Like, you should try to save lives, but you shouldn't take from other people in order to save other people's lives. Like, if people want to be charitable, they can be charitable, and unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. I should not be forced to give up what I've earned for other people. If I choose so, that would be great.
I had a good thought. The way that I see it, is that it's pretty much the same thing the blue collar said. The right to life. We should do as much as we can to help people, but then once it comes to money, money not mattering is fine, but like it's a fine idea. But then who's gonna pay for it? And then once you start thinking about that, it kind of it doesn't sound like as good of an idea anymore.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to say that money doesn't matter until it matters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god. I don't like this.
Voluntary euthanasia should remain illegal.
Do you have the right to kill yourself?
You know what's funny? In England, I can't remember what century, but I don't think it was too long ago. Suicide was a punishable offense by death.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't even know what to think about this one.
Here's the thing. I'll put it this way. If you believe that all drugs should be legal on the basis of a libertarian ideology, then you definitely believe that this should. And I can actually justify this from both like the hard kind of right, survival of the fittest, and the sympathetic left. The sympathetic left is, well, if someone doesn't want to be around, not our job to force them to be here. And the hard, Darwinist right, I would appeal to them by saying, hey, that's one less bitch boy in the gene pool.
I think my personal interpretation is that this is like an old man.
What? But it's
it doesn't say that, but like
I would think it would be more robust for you to believe that it is not an old man, because that's too simple. That's too easy. Right, you should believe it's like me. Like, I want to die. Why? I just wanna.
I mean, there should be a decision you can make once you're to like 25, once your brain's developed and shit.
And you can just kill yourself.
Yeah, if you want. People kill themselves all the time, dude.
Here's the thing. This would solve so many problems, eh? Overpopulation would be over, okay? You wouldn't have people jumping off bridges. They would just stay indoors and euthanize themselves. Whatever. Yeah, and I think I did a good job appealing to both sides of the political. Like, we can all unite on the fact that we should be killing ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that obviously suicide should not be the first thing you turn to when you have a problem. And I also, but I think that if you have like if things are bad enough for you, and like no, I don't think that if nothing's stopping you, then you're gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, no, that's why I said it's the same argument for legalizing drugs, which is that it's a personal thing, and as long as you don't affect anyone else's life when you do it, which that's you can make an argument there about families and whatnot, but as long as primarily the only person who could be physically harmed is yourself, do what you want.
Yeah, you're responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
I always say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no. You can finish it. You can finish your thought.
I was gonna say. I always say that people absolutely, above all, have the right to suffer. Which is that if someone chooses to make their life worse or even end it, it is not your place to trample their right to do that. So that's kind of what I say to myself if I see a homeless guy in the street or something. Some people might say, "Oh, that really sucks," and it does. But they have the right to choose that life.
Very boomer opinion.
Well, I'm sometimes they don't choose that life.
No,
so.
I know. No, of course not. And that's when you have to have human empathy. But you also have to be able to recognize that a vast portion of people occupying the bottom rungs of society If they haven't consciously chosen that life, they certainly haven't worked to not have that life. But let's do this next question because it's a doozy.
Homosexuality is wrong because it's unnatural.
You guys go first.
Okay, I said disagree because it is natural. It actually is.
Right. Okay. Because is this because of the P spot?
The what?
Is that why? Guys can get
the G
isn't that
spot.
what it's called? No. That's just in women. Men has a different name.
I thought it was the same spot.
I don't think so.
Or the same name.
Isn't it because the prostate itself?
Yeah. I don't know.
And the G
spot. I don't know
about G is for gland. But I thought that was a thing. Is that like if you?
I don't know. I know that there's one.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
It is the thing. If you have like an enlarged prostate, you're more gay.
Oh, I didn't say that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like if you have more nerve endings, if it's more,
What the fuck?
sensitive.
I think that just means you that you're a bottom.
A straight bottom.
Yeah. Dude, you don't even fucking know how weird people's sex lives are.
I guess not. I'm too boomer Christian boy.
Yeah. Basically it is
Tony
natural.
emanates. Tony, Mr. AIDS.
Yeah, Tony.
I'd like to hear your
What do you
opinion.
think about being gay?
I think, yeah.
I disagreed because being gay isn't wrong because it's unnatural. It's wrong because it's fucked up.
I knew it was coming, and I love it. Okay, I'm really glad that we started by calling me Mr. Boop, because that isn't going away. And I did say, see, this is the thing. You know how I said earlier that I didn't believe murder was always wrong, but I did believe it was always It's the same idea, which is that if you're gay, same libertarian mindset, do what you want, don't put it in the butt of unconsenting people, and we're all good.
Oh yeah, don't rape. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good rule.
Yeah, I'm basically Jesus. But but in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion, when it comes to running a society, and I am quite concerned with not just how we run our individual lives, but how can we run our collective lives, or how can we run our individual lives so that we are aiming towards the same thing, and build a great society. Because I'm kind of really nostalgic for a period in which we were writing symphonies and, building Gothic churches that took hundreds of years to build. Like, how do we get back to there? How did we end up here? And I do think that this is a part of it. I think that... So... And it's hard to describe why, right? Because it seems so irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. But I do think that having an ideal for men and women to achieve for the very most part is part of it, right? For saying the ideal man is this and the ideal woman is this. And obviously homosexuality kind of bends that backward. But I do think having things like that are building a greater society. So I don't believe that homosexuality is like wrong as in you should like kill yourself, but I do believe it's a sin. Please don't.
Fucking boomer.
I actually don't think there's anything wrong with homosexuality. I was just joking before. Don't worry.
I know, obviously, of course. Right. That was a tough one, actually. Kind of sweating. I don't like that.
Nobody does.
Okay. Should I read this one?
Sure.
Give her a go.
It is quite reasonable to believe in the existence of a thing without even the possibility of evidence for its existence.
Fuck you. I know what you're asking. Do you believe in God, stupid?
No. It's saying, is it reasonable? Is it reasonable? It's not
framing
reasonable.
this question. They're framing this question stupidly, but
it is very stupid.
I agree because anyone would agree.
No, I would disagree. It's not reasonable, but you can.
Yeah,
still
I don't.
Or no, I mean, I meant I disagree. Like, it is not reasonable.
Yeah.
without
Oh, okay. I
possibility.
thought you said you
No.
agreed.
No. You know what I would say that I believe in God. I would also say that I think it's unreasonable to believe in anything without even the possibility of evidence for its existence. If they mean like you need to have raw scientific data to prove God, then I think my answer switches because you'll never have that. But the framing, this is such a 2004 atheist question. Like,
It is.
Is it reasonable
This
to
is just
believe
like
in
a,
something that Noah's Ark? Noah's Ark. Shut the. What do you guys?
Same. It's not reasonable, but you can still do it. You should be able to still do it.
And maybe to be reasonable all the time isn't necessarily good. Reason is good, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear what I'm saying? If you're venturing into the realm of spiritualism, I don't think that reason really holds a place there.
It definitely doesn't.
If you're all reasonable all the time, then you're probably not human.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I'm
Probably
glad
something
we're on the
like
same page.
weird, like alien.
Alright.
That's how I
That's
pronounce
pretty
alien. Alright.
All logic. No emotion.
Ooh, I think you're gonna like this one, Tony. Mr. AIDS. You know, that would be a cool name.
Mike
Mr.
should
AIDS,
read
'cause
it.
Sounds like
Sure.
a mystery.
The possession of drugs for personal use should be decriminalized. Yes.
All drugs?
All
drugs.
drugs.
Meth. Do you know what meth does to people? Like,
Meth
I
is
don't care if
bad.
someone else is doing meth. I'm not doing meth.
I know that I should have like checked the room before I asked that question. I know that you know what meth does to people because you've looked everything up about every drug. But I have watched some crazy testimonials about recovering meth addicts. It takes one try and you're addicted to meth. It's the only drug like that. I do think that at least at that level, it is actually a bad thing to let people do that to them. I think that you can let people, and I know I just said earlier you have the right to suffer, but at that point, like it's almost unfair because no drug like that exists naturally. It's man-made. You're not naturally given a chance to redeem yourself. With cocaine, it's addictive. It is. But, like, you could do cocaine and then stop doing cocaine with a little bit of work. Your body can naturally deal with the dopamine levels that it gives you. You can't with meth. Like, it's insane. So I don't think that we should go to that extreme.
Heroin is worse than meth, is it not?
Well, and even fucking worse if there's a worse one. I don't know. I just know meth is really bad, man.
Yeah, it is.
I've watched a bunch of videos of recovering meth addicts, and like it actually hurts to watch.
Mm-hmm. But I think people should be allowed to do what they want. They should be allowed to have drugs with the proper education. If they're not educated, they should be educated.
No,
They should be
you trust the
educated.
education. What? So we're gonna trust public education to teach people about
Absolutely
drugs.
not.
They can't even teach people about sex.
That is true.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And that's the only way you'd be able to regulate that, because that is a very socialist, when you put it through that frame.
Fuck.
Like, you have to get the proper education to do it, so you need to have a government recognition that you've gotten the proper education, and the government is going to only want you to get the proper education through something it regulates. So this is just becoming more and more government owned. And then you'll probably have to buy it from the government, because they don't want just anyone to be buying it, because you need the proper education.
Yeah,
You know what?
I don't think, well, it wouldn't be legal, it would be decriminalized, which means people wouldn't go to jail for it, so the government wouldn't sell you it.
No, I hear what you're saying. But what the hell is it? Mike just said is that he thinks it should be legal if people get the proper education, and I'm saying there's a whole lot of baggage in saying that. There's a whole lot of
I don't think
baggage
it
in
should be
saying
legal.
Decriminalized and legal are like the same thing in my brain. I don't know the difference.
That was a scary one. I don't want to look into that, dude.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
Is it boomer time?
It's boomer time.
Yeah, boomer time.
We should have a segment called Boomer Time, and I just rant for like 5 minutes about how much I hate the gays. It's boomer time! Okay. There exists an all-powerful, loving, and good God. Yep.
That's kind of a hard one to debate because
It is. 'Cause it's only
he's not
making
real.
belief.
No, he is real.
Okay. I'm gonna try and in this short time explain my view of God. So buckle up.
Okay.
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 I believe
boomer.
that God. Shut. Fuck. I'm gonna kill you. I believe that God is the natural order of things. The things that cannot be changed, whether that you call that the laws of physics, because that extends far past just laws of. But I do believe it begins. The way that the entire animal kingdom structures their hierarchies in very similar fashions. These constants that you find across societies, basically just any constant on our planet, that is what God is. That's putting it really shortly and simply. But that's basically what I believe. Now, there's a bit more to it than that.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Bible's a pretty cool book. Maybe pick it up one time. But that's
maybe read it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, like, my idea of God would be the same thing, like, kind of like the natural order of things, you know. There's this, like, fucking psychedelic idea that, you know, the, like, Gaia, whatever the fuck that is, it's like the natural order of things, the Great Mother, whatever the fuck, that's a Jungian archetype. I think it's kind of like that, but I don't think that it's all-powerful, loving, and good.
Well, that is why you should read the Bible.
I've looked at the Bible.
You looked at it?
I looked at it. I looked at it. I looked at it, then I set it down. And I was like, nope, I'm going to watch atheist YouTube videos.
Hey, man, if you want me to, I'm going to debunk you. So, good God, I think that the natural order of things is good, and I think that when we stray away from it, that's when the most evil things happen. There's that.
Oh.
Loving? Well, again, if the natural order of things, if that's as good as it can really be, and by that I mean, like, the way that our hierarchies are set up naturally. When we try to get away from that, that's when we start killing each other. That's not good. So, yeah, I think... And another thing that people aren't grateful enough for our lives, human life in consciousness itself, is the chance for redemption. If you mess up big time, you can always bounce back. And that is, if you believe in the God that I've described, that is extremely loving and merciful. If you were God and you had all these little people and you had these rules that you absolutely did not want them to break, and these little inconsequential people started breaking them, you wouldn't think twice about just ripping their head off and it's over. But not our God. And it's metaphorical. You know what I'm saying. I hope.
I know what
do
you're
you think,
saying.
Tony?
What do you think, Tony? Is there a God?
I don't believe in God.
Dope.
You're entitled to your opinion. Hell yeah, dude.
I'm trying to really reel back the authoritarian in me right now.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. And this next question is not a good follow-up for what I just said. So let's...
The Second World War was a just war.
Now, before you answer, from whose side of things? Like, are we saying...
I think they're asking the German side.
For the Nazis?
I think they're asking from the side of the Nazis.
Oh.
No, it's
I don't know what it means at all.
It's from the point of view of the winners, right?
I think actually it must be because the war only officially started in response to what the Nazis were doing. In fact, the Allies are the ones who declared the war.
Dude, do you think the person making these questions went into that amount of detail?
Well, I think it's that's probably what they meant.
I think that this is meant to be taken through the eyes of the Allies, and and because of that, I don't know, man. I've recently been listening to this British guy who was, I don't want to say his name because it's got a lot of bad connotation to it, but this British guy who was prominent in politics around the time. He's
Sargon?
making... No, are you serious? No.
I don't know who that is.
This is 1945, buddy.
Oh shit! I don't know who the hell you're talking about. In
No,
1945?
I don't want to say his name, because he's got... I don't want to be...
Heinrich Himmler.
No. But
He's not
he was very
British.
prominent in British politics, and he had some wacky ideas that I'm not cool with. A little bit of a fascist, a little bit of a Nazi. No, he wasn't, but he wasn't. But he was a bit of a fascist. He was that. And he made a lot of good points as to why Britain should have just not, joined the war. And at the same time, obviously, you don't want Germany to take over the world, but I also wonder if that was something that was going to happen, or if that was just a story that was fed to us. Then there's the point that, like, we should gotta save the Jews, and that's true. So I don't really know. Was it a just war? Or was it just I don't know, just a necessary war in the scheme of politics?
I'd say that's a just war.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty just war.
Because it's like a retaliation against like something that could potentially ruin everything we've worked up until now.
Yeah, and if we didn't fight back against that, then we could be living in a very different world today. A much more authoritarian world with a lot less freedom.
Well, the thing is, I think it would bounce back, though. I think people would rise up.
My thing is that...
Gamers rise.
Basically, this is what I'm asking. And I'm not saying that Hitler and Nazi Germany weren't probably one of the most deplorable societies to ever grace the earth. But what I am asking myself now when I look at World War II history is, how much of what I believe is just blowover propaganda from the time, and how much is based in fact? So, was Germany's aims to actually take over the world? If it wasn't to take over the world, does that make a difference? I have a lot of questions, but I think I'm like 65-35% on your guys' team that it was a just war. But there's 35% of me that's like, oh man, maybe if we just talk to Germany a bit more, they'd stop killing Jews. I don't know.
Yeah. Really
yeah, I'm sure that talking to them would have...
That's a joke. I don't like... These are bad questions.
Yeah, this is a bad one. This is a free will question. Having made a choice, it is always possible that one might have chosen otherwise. Yeah.
I don't really know the significance of that question.
If you answer yes, that means free will. If you answer no, no free will.
Well, at the same time... Like, on the one hand, yeah, but on the other hand, it's so irrelevant one way or the other.
Yeah, it is kind of irrelevant.
Even if you don't believe in free will, I think it's better to act as if you believe in free will. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good position to take.
And even if you don't believe in free will, then if you make a decision, then there was still always the possibility that something else could have happened. Either way.
Yeah, but again, like, what is the significance of that, like, at all? You know what I mean?
I think it's just something that's interesting to think about personally.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't think it has any. It means anything in the grand scheme of things, but it's cool to think about.
All right, are we ready for the next question here?
Yeah, that was a quick one.
I'm trying to see if we... There's 30 of them.
Yeah, so let's try and zoom our way.
It is not always right to judge individuals solely on their merit.
The fuck are merits?
Like
specifically.
What meritocracy is. Like, how good they are at things.
Merit.
Like, their ability to do things. It is not always right. Oh my... Well...
No.
I I disagreed with it because or wait, sorry. I should have pressed agree.
It's like a double negative. It's not a double negative.
No.
Yeah, shit.
It's just a negative.
Yeah.
Judge.
Yeah, sorry.
They should have taken out the word "not." It should just say
it is not always right. Yeah.
It should be a positive affirmation for you to disagree with, but whatever.
Sometimes you can make some good judgments like that, but other times you could misjudge someone, and also even if you judge someone right, then they could change in the future.
Mm-hmm. Also, what does that say about, people who have, like, either mental disabilities or physical limitations, things like that? Does that mean that they should be judged more harshly because of something that just, like, happened to them?
Yeah. If they can't perform the same as someone without a disability, I guess, yeah. That's what it would be.
That's what it would mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Blue collar. What do you think?
Is he gone?
Blue collar is typing. Boomer overboard. Oh no.
What's that?
He's just like, boomer overboard. Whoa. Headphones are disconnected. Oh, I see. Yes. This is a longer episode.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good, very good. So
let's talk about the next one, I guess.
Yeah.
Or no, wait.
Oh shit, I already skipped it.
Oh. It says judgments about works of art are purely matters of taste.
I
agree.
I say no. I disagree.
I think that for every piece of art, there's going to be people who don't like it and people who do like it. And with certain pieces of art, there'll be more people who will like it or more people who will hate it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that to like one person, it wouldn't be like the greatest art ever.
I think
it's all subjective.
I don't think it's all subjective. I think there are certain things that artist tries to get out of his art. I think true art tries to express something in a way that they can't express through words, and that can have multiple interpretations, but there are also interpretations that are just plain wrong. Like you can look at a pipe that says, written in French below it, "This is not a pipe," and then basically it's like, oh, what we see is not necessarily what is actual, because we're looking at a painting right now, but you can't just say like, oh, this is, support for Marxism. That's what this is, Nothing is as it appears.
I don't think that it. I don't think that art needs to have emotion behind it.
I think it does.
It could just be something that. I think it's usually a lot better. It's usually better if it has emotion behind it.
So that means it's not a matter of taste. That means that by your own definition.
Well, that's my personal taste.
Okay. We'll wait for the boomer to get back. Is the boomer
back? Where is he?
I think he's here.
Oh, is
he typing?
Oh, he's typing.
Dude. His headphones are messed. Dude.
I cannot figure this out.
He's trying. That's fine.
Alright.
We're doing it live, boys.
Oh, I saw his name light up for a second.
I think that's because it's reverberating my voice. No? Maybe.
Oh, it lit up again.
Just because he's
Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it. I hear it actually. It's like just his.
Oh, it does. It does. It copies my voice.
Yeah, there's an echo.
What the heck?
That just means that the microphone is picking up on your audio because his headphones aren't plugged in.
Well, why can't we hear him?
No. I had no idea. Maybe because his phone doesn't have... Oh, actually, no, that's retarded. His phone should have a mic. Oh, it's probably in your settings, dude. Let's see. I'll go on my phone Discord and see if I can help him out. Because it might not be your headphones, it's probably your settings. Wee wah woo. Let's just form an acapella group.
What?
Let's just form an acapella group.
What's from an acapella group? Oh, we should form an acapella. Yeah.
Hey, is it?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Here you are.
Oh, thank God.
There you go.
How'd you fix it?
Oh, do you know? So this is the thing. So my headphones are plugged in, and I'm clearly using my headphone microphone, but
Mhm.
I'm not hearing you out of my headphone.
Weird.
So that's
That's
strange.
weird.
This-
Can you hear us
that's
now?
I can hear you guys.
Nice.
I can hear you guys
Awesome.
the whole time. I was freaking out, like, boomer overboard. But I don't know what happened. I dropped my phone. Like, it didn't even drop. It slipped out of my hand, and then it just decided that it wouldn't let me talk anymore.
Okay, we're on question 15.
Now, give me a sec, because I don't know. My whole survey just decided to brick, so I got to redo it
No.
now. I'll be quick. I'll be quick. I'm actually a little bit peeved about the headphone.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay. There are no objective moral standards. Agree with that. I disagree with that. Agree with it.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is amazing.
Boy, oh boy.
I like this.
Huh?
I like this. Discussing philosophy me.
Oh, that's my favorite thing.
Film loss.
What's your favorite food? Go right now. What is it?
Ass.
Not so much of a boomer are you now, huh? But same.
Alright, so I'm back at question 13.
Nice.
So it is not always right to judge individuals solely on their merits. Yeah, the way I kind of thought about that one, like, but what if they're a Nazi? So, just because you're really good at the job,
super
I think I should be able
efficient
to
and
judge you
all
on some other
that.
things.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
So we took a libtard stance, and you took like an actual like reasonable stance. Well, both are reasonable.
Judgments about works of art are purely matters of taste. That's not true.
I
That's
said the
not
same thing.
Oh, so I'm the odd one out then.
Art is subjective up until it's not. Like,
Yes.
you can't put a toilet in an art gallery, which they've done,
Mm-hmm.
and call it art. You just can't. It's not. It's just not. Like, there's an agreed upon medium. There's
Yeah.
objectively good techniques. So yeah, no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on 15, right?
Yep.
Yep.
On bodily death, a person continues to exist in a non-physical form. What the fuck?
Kinda, I guess.
I'm gonna say
Like the spirit of that person lives on in a sense.
in a sense.
Well, yeah, I
mean,
guess.
technically,
I guess from a metaphorical perspective,
it kind of.
but I don't
you
think that
put it this way.
there's actually. I think that when you die, you're dead, though.
I don't think that there's ghosts running around doing stuff. No. But I do believe that the saying that the spirit of someone can pursue after their body dies, if you take that as, I'm reading Nietzsche right now, he's long dead, and yet his ideas and thoughts are still making an effect on the world, the living world.
But it says
And
non-physical.
it is non-physical.
I think
like-
reading a book is physical.
No, it's what I'm talking about isn't the words in a book. It's the collective of the books and the image that it paints in your mind. That's what I think. And I don't think it has to be a book. You could have some guy that just gave a lot of talks, or maybe it's your dad or something like that, and they die.
Yeah,
And,
it's
but
just
the
the
spirit
memory.
of them lives with you. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna say yes on a technicality.
I'm saying no because you still technically, even if you do die, you can still exist in a physical form, but not in a non-physical form. Like in someone's brain, there can be representations of you after you're dead, and that's a physical state. Because that's all we know about the brain. We don't know if it's non-physical or not. So that's the only position I can really take.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank God. I unplugged my headphones, so I wanted to see if it was just my phone speaker. What are those fucking headphones?
Okay.
Anyway.
The government should not permit the sale of health treatments which have not been tested for efficacy and safety.
This actually is relevant because someone that I know was given... well, not that I know, but my teacher was talking about shit that was like, yeah, they give these fucking students pills for depression, but then they ended up killing themselves because it's not meant for children under, 18.
Well, that is the extreme, right? But
that is the extreme.
I wonder about, there's stupid things like ear candling. Have you heard of that?
No, what the fuck? No.
They put a candle in your ear.
No.
And it's supposed to take out all sorts of garbage. And no one, people don't really know if it works and whatever, and it doesn't hurt anyone. This is the same thing as, if you believe that criminal drugs should be legalized, you should probably let people sell pharmaceutical drugs that you don't want them to sell too. You can't say that meth
I don't
should be
think
legal and that a zinc pill shouldn't.
I don't think that the government should be selling it.
Yeah, but that's not what it's saying, right? It's saying that they shouldn't permit the sale.
Oh.
It's saying that they should make it forbidden.
Oh, okay. Well, then I answered wrong.
Because I think, and also, how are you going to have innovation in the medical field if you can never ever try anything new?
No, the thing is, it's not been tested for efficacy and safety. So it's basically saying, okay, we made this new thing. Now it goes, directly to the public market.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was medical health professionals or something. That it wasn't permitting them to do it. If it's just anybody... You can try anything you want on your own. It might not be the smartest thing to do, but I wouldn't want a medical professional
for sure,
recommending that sort of thing.
People should buy meth, or should be able to buy meth. You don't think people should buy meth? I hope, but you think people should be able to buy meth, and there's nothing more harmful than that,
except for heroin.
Well, the thing is, the government's offering this as a legitimate treatment for the thing, even though it's not been tested.
The government's just allowing people to sell it.
But then that comes into conflict with the, what is it called? The ignorant consumer who doesn't know anything about this. And then the people are like, this fucking works.
That's their fault. Because you know what else? If you decriminalize illegal drugs, you can and do right now have people saying things like... psychedelics as a treatment for depression.
And it's being tested right now for efficacy and safety.
Yeah, but...
in control trials, yeah.
I think that people should be able to sell whatever they want. We got the internet. Do your research. Don't do that.
All right.
I don't think that healthcare professionals should be able to sell that sort of stuff.
No.
Nice. All
There
right.
are no... Or who wants to read this one?
I think you can.
Oh, okay.
Do it.
There are no objective truths about matters of fact. Truth is always relative to particular cultures and individuals.
No.
What? You tell me that the sky isn't always blue right now?
It's
Eh,
actually purple if you look. It's actually a very specific shade of
Actually
blue.
medium green.
If you were to explore other cultures, how they color things, you would know
Then
that.
you would know that in Africa the sky is yellow.
Yeah. That's just because the malaria is so dense there. You can't see the difference.
Yeah. But
So that was-
yeah.
Atheism is a faith just like any other because it is not possible to prove the non-existence of God.
I think atheism is a kind of faith.
But this is the thing. I have to disagree with this because of how the question is framed. Faithism is a faith, but it's not because it's
It's the absence of
impossible
faith.
to prove the non-existence of God. That's not why it's a faith. That's not why anything. But it is a faith. But that's not why.
I think that atheism is the absence of faith in anything.
Yeah, but-
heard that one. That's some more 2004 atheist YouTubers. That's before YouTube was around. But here's the thing. You can't... I don't think that humans can do that. I don't think humans can have a lack of faith.
Exactly. They push it onto something else that's kind of like a crippled sort of religion almost.
Yeah.
Like science is kind of like a crippled religion. If all you believe in is science, it's like a crippled religion because it lacks faith.
Yes. Oh, I would love to have a full podcast just about that.
Yeah,
That's such a...
you should come on on our podcast.
I
More
know.
often.
This is fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah. Proper sanitation and medicines are generally good for a society.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
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 I would
Would
say
be like
yes.
India and San Francisco. You just poop
They're-
in the
they're-
streets.
And San Francisco.
Dude, it's actually really bad there right now.
Really?
Like,
This is like all the homeless
There's all
people.
these jokes of like world travelers who are like, I went to China and India and Iraq, and San Francisco was the only place that I almost accidentally stepped in human feces on.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Why? Homeless people can just go into like a fucking coffee shop, be like, "Hey, can I take a shit?" It's like, yeah.
With the ass. You just can.
No, but like, it's
Clean it up.
polite.
Yeah, he's a polite homo.
Yo, can I take a shit, dude?
And just
Hey, dude.
squats right there. No, I meant the bathroom. Anyway, in certain circumstances, it might be desirable to discriminate positively in favor of a person as recompense for harms done to him/her in the past. Is this just identity politics?
Well, yeah, this is like, it's okay to discriminate against white people.
Yeah, but no,
Because
discriminate
black
positively.
people-
So it's okay to give black people and women and whatever, pick a group. It's okay. Question is asserting that it's okay to give them advantages because their ancestors had it tougher. Your group identity does not supersede your individual identity. Get fucked.
Exactly. Agreed. Or disagreed.
Yeah, disagree.
Okay. Alternative and complementary medicine is as valuable as mainstream medicine.
This is what I was saying about innovation.
Yeah.
Because ear candling is some batshit crazy shit, but like, what if it works?
Well, I'm not sure if it's as valuable as mainstream medicine.
Well, even if you look at the thing if it was psychedelics,
I'd say it's more valuable.
yeah, it's valuable. It's a value alternative and complementary medicine. It is complementary to not psychoanalysis specifically, but just clinical psychology in general. It's useful.
I think that alternative and complementary medicine is actually more valuable than mainstream medicine because it doesn't just offer the cure. Just by allowing it to exist, it offers the potential for future cures that we do not have.
Yeah. So we should be
Except alternative medicine is usually like really
people don't like
really
vaccines
old
like that.
medicine.
There's like crystals and tree panning and shit like that.
Yeah, and those people, like I said,
left-wing ideology is, hey man, let people do what they want. Right-wing ideology is if he dies of, measles, that's one less in the gene pool. Whatever. Your crystals can't save you now.
Ooh.
Talking about that, severe brain damage can rob a person of all consciousness and selfhood.
Yes.
I shouldn't have laughed at that. That's terrible.
It actually can, and there are reported cases of this. Yeah?
I wouldn't really know about it.
Well, essentially, what your consciousness... I'm not going to describe consciousness. Selfhood is kind of like your ego, and that can be basically, taken out. That can be removed.
Mm-hmm.
Psychedelic drugs do that.
But you're still a person.
Still a person.
What do they mean by selfhood?
I think they mean, the ego. The I. The thing
No,
that you refer to yourself as.
They're not talking about, psychedelics. They're talking about brain damage.
What's the difference?
Well, theoretically it can.
It can completely change. If you have certain parts of your brain damage, it can completely change your personality.
Yeah, there's actually this thing called the default network in the brain. That's basically the thing. It's basically your ego.
I think this question is a bit of a fallacy. It's asking severe brain damage can rob a person. It's if I take his brain out of his head and damage it that way, you know what I mean? If you go to a far enough extreme, sure. I don't think it's a very deep question, actually.
It's
it can.
Well, it's kind of.
You can have your brain damaged just randomly. Your brain doesn't be removed. You can get head trauma and shit.
But I'm saying, so if I were to make the assertion, I'm doing my Michael Eric Dyson impression. If I were to make the assertion that, 1 degree of brain damage isn't gonna rob someone of their consciousness, you would just say, okay, well this, and then more brain damage will, and then I'll say no, and then you go further and further until we, you know what I'm saying?
It's not even a matter
of this argument is to stab the brain.
It's not even a matter of how much brain damage; it's a matter of where the brain damage occurs.
But that's what I'm saying, right? So eventually, if you're on the side, if this is a debate between the two opposing viewpoints, you can't win because the question isn't how, it's it can. Does it have the potential to?
Right.
And with any question, it's yeah, I guess. Anything is possible.
Right.
Okay. To allow an innocent child to suffer needlessly when one could easily prevent it is morally reprehensible.
I don't want to be a nuance bro, but they got to be more specific.
They do.
What does it mean? Suffer? What is this? Suffer needlessly? Well, what does that mean?
What does easily prevent
any
mean? Does it mean that they have
trauma?
no parents and they're just in another place?
What easily prevent means that it would be they would barely even have to lift a finger to stop this child from suffering.
So here's my thing, right? Or it would just be inaction. Let's say if you're spanking a child, does that count as suffering?
Is it needless suffering?
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
But does that count as suffering?
I think it counts as suffering.
Okay. And then, like you said, is it necessary? Well, if you want to raise your child to become a very specific individual, yeah, it is necessary.
Well, then it's not needless.
But you could also make the argument that that is wrong. Really, I think what this question is expanding the idea of needless suffering, because I don't think there is a whole lot of needless suffering. I think just about almost all suffering is actually quite necessary.
Yeah, but this is talking about needless suffering.
Yeah, but I don't know what an example of that would be.
Well, if there's a little kid who's been kidnapped, or the little kid's gonna get kidnapped by someone, and you don't know what's gonna happen, but you see it happening, and this little kid could get raped, tortured, and killed, and you just don't do anything to stop it. That seems like needless suffering for a little kid.
You got me.
Nice. All right, I'll read this one out. The environment should not be damaged unnecessarily in the pursuit of human ends.
Agree.
Yeah.
The garbage island is the size of France.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's not good.
China's fucking up our atmosphere.
And, you know,
We're fucking up our own atmosphere.
if for nothing else, like, I'm not a socialist climate change, like, now we have to be communists to save the environment person.
Yeah,
But,
no.
what I do believe is, like, here's what I can prove. I can't prove to you that climate change and global warming is real. I can't. But what I can prove to you is it's really ugly when there's plastic wrappers on my street. So, like, there's something. You know?
Mhm.
But it actually
It's
is,
not-
like, it is happening. Like,
Yeah,
scientists have proved it.
It can be hard to see. It can be hard to
Man-made
see
though.
when you're in a city or even a town, but every once in a while I go up north, and especially in the summer, you could see a lot more of because they do a lot of this stuff where people don't generally hang out, so people don't see it.
Yeah, but don't you also think that exclusivity to it? Here's my thing. I don't want to get into this because this is another losing battle for me. But climate change is being used to drive socialist and communist
Yes.
policy.
It is being used
So
for that.
don't you think
Hmm.
that when they have exclusivity to things like that, like, oh, only we can go to the Arctic or the Antarctic, and that's real. And then we go up there and we're going to tell you what's going on up there is a whole continent, but we're going to take a picture of like one spot and be like, I don't know. I also don't know. I'm going to send you this guy. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's actually, I think his name is Randall Carlson.
Okay.
You'll find him really interesting.
Mm.
Alright. I'm actually watching
but-
another Joe Rogan episode right now.
But
Like
just to
like
stay
while
on
we're recording this.
No.
the
But it's
while,
on my screen.
while we're on the question, though, I do want to say, actual litter, we can all agree is bad.
Yes.
Okay. And
Mhm.
even if climate change, as it stands, isn't being man-made, it doesn't help to be dumping CO2 in the atmosphere.
Mhm.
So I can agree with this. Yeah.
Hmm.
I just don't think we need to be communists to solve it.
No, we don't.
Michelangelo is indisputably one of history's finest artists. I mean,
I don't think I've even looked at his art.
Statue of
Yeah, I disagree with that because the word is indisputably. I feel like you could probably dispute that.
Dispute it.
I don't know anything about him.
Well, it's your fault.
Oh, he's the guy who
Okay.
painted the... Oh, shit, that's epic.
Yes, did the Sistine Chapel and the Statue of David. I think the Statue of David, or was that Raphael? He made a statue too.
I think he is one
Anyway.
of history's finest artists.
Absolutely. This is the problem. When you talk about art being subjective, you're really you're hung up on what ifs. You're saying art is subjective, but you're basing that on hypotheticals of like what you think the best art would be. We have a
Well,
long
that's why
history
it's
of art.
subjective. Is because
Yeah, it's wrong.
individuals are allowed to have different opinions.
But think
course.
about this. The reason we still know about Michelangelo is because his art was so fucking epic, dude.
And not just that, we have of the art that has been created, we can write a timeline of it. And if you're looking at only the art that was created, like if that's the only data that you're looking at and you're not considering your hypotheticals of what you think prime art would be, Michelangelo and the Renaissance period is absolutely one of history's like best periods, and Michelangelo therefore one of history's finest artists.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Michelangelo, so I don't know. I can't really argue much.
Ninja Turtle. He likes pizza.
Yeah, I know about the Ninja Turtle.
Use him as a placeholder.
Okay. Individuals have sole rights over their own bodies. Agree.
This is why they are so scared to ask the question that they're actually wanting to ask. This question is abortion okay?
What?
What?
That's what they always say. Come on. I'm not crazy.
No, this is not what it's saying.
That's not what...
Look, abortion. The fetus
No.
is not their own body.
but that's what I may or may not agree with you, but that's what the argument is. The reason that this question is on here is because the main argument, like for pro-abortion people, is that my body, my choice. I have sole rights over my own body.
No, I think you can agree with this the way it is, and then also still be against abortion.
Yeah. Because that little fetus can be an individual.
No, I totally agree with what you said there.
Yeah.
However, I was just making a remark that I think that this quiz is trying to ask something, but it's too scared to actually ask it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but the questions aren't specific enough, so I'm taking it at face value.
True enough.
Yeah.
Acts of genocide stand as a testament to man's ability to do great evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we even need to say anything about that one. Genocide is evil.
Is the Holocaust real?
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, we have to agree with this one because it's illegal for us not to, right?
Yeah, we literally in our country cannot say that it's not.
Really?
Yeah,
I want to say something to incriminate myself here.
Dude.
No, I don't. I don't think that the Holocaust isn't real, but you know what I don't think is awesome?
What?
I don't think it's awesome that no one's allowed to question it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think people should be free to question it. But I also think that it did actually happen.
Yes.
Yeah, it happened.
Like, you know what I really hate about this? Because we've already asserted that we have to say that, no one would really know based on our responses whether or not we believe that. They'd just be like, oh, well, they have to say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like,
but I fucking read. I know about fucking this shit. I know.
I've seen the pictures.
That's a really crazy consequence of limiting free speech that I hadn't considered, is that if you make it so that people have to say a certain thing, it's not just that they might believe in something else. You would actually assume that they believe in something else because they have to say that thing. You think about that?
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yeah,
that's why free speech is so important.
It stifles debate.
Yeah.
It really doesn't let anything. It doesn't allow people to have their minds changed either about things.
Yeah, because if it's illegal and it's like, oh shit, I think that this is wrong, you can actually prove it with facts about like sites and shit. Like, you know, like Auschwitz actually is a physical place that existed.
Yeah, it's a real place.
You know why this law came about? It's because one Holocaust denier, I believe in Britain, wrote a book about why he didn't think it existed, and then some Jewish lady sued him, and she won, and then they made it illegal to hold his opinions.
Yeah, I knew it was because of a lawsuit.
But can you believe that? Like, I would understand it if it's like there was a trial, and then the guy being sued, like, he won, and then 20 years later they're like, that was messed up, we should make it illegal. But that's not what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're almost at the finish line here.
Yeah.
Governments should be allowed to increase taxes sharply to save lives in the developing world.
Nah.
Okay, commie.
Yeah, no. That's kind of the same as the question we already had.
That's hilarious. Not just should the government be able to take all your money, they should be able to give it to fucking other countries. Come on.
Dude, it's the same argument as with a fucking coke addict. If you give money to like corrupt officials, what the fuck are they going to do with it? Become more corrupt?
You know, here's the thing. I have a prediction. If these first world countries continue draining their bank accounts in foreign aid, one day these third and second world countries will actually become better places to live, but people will be moving there because they're receiving money from other governments, and people will move away from the governments sending money.
I don't think it goes to the individual people, though.
It goes to the governments, and all that they would have to do is have a welfare state. They'd probably have a stronger free market economy because these countries usually tend to make most of the world's stuff. That's my prediction.
Maybe.
If Caden is correct, come back to this video, and then I'll do 200,000 push-ups in a row. I'll live stream it if Caden's correct.
I'll hold you to that. I'll remember.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
Because okay, look at the history of predictions, dude. 99% of them are wrong.
100,000. Oh boy, that's good stuff.
Okay, this is another free.
I'm gonna physically torture myself.
This is another free will question. The future is
the
fixed.
future
How
is
one's
fixed.
life unfolds is a matter of destiny.
So you're either, I can't remember the term for it. I think it's materialist.
Yeah, materialist,
Basically,
and then the other one.
Yeah.
The
Rather
materialist
or not.
determinist, because you can be a determinist and not.
That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one to argue against if you don't know anything.
Exactly.
But as soon as you start to know things, it kind of goes away. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think the future is fixed. But it wouldn't matter either way.
All right. So here's the next question: are you male or female?
Well,
This is the hardest fucking one.
let's just not say. Let's just not say anything. No, let's actually say shit.
Oh boy.
Canada.
Well, I feel like
What is your
that's
religion?
frankly-
Fuck you.
Yeah, that's
How
not cool.
old are you?
I'm not saying.
What is your religion?
You're not saying your religion?
Not saying.
This
Fuck
is a bit
you.
of like a census. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and not say because I don't want that to.
How about we just not? Let's just not say for every one of these.
I think that we should not say for every single one.
Hell yeah!
That would unfairly influence our results.
My
you happy that
philosophical health check is perfect.
Oh,
Bullshit.
the PHC has identified 5 tensions in my beliefs.
3 tensions
I
in
have
my
0
beliefs.
tension.
Oh, so you're a good
I
boy who
believe.
believes the right things.
Who believes the right things by the definition?
Well, no, it's not that I believe the right thing. Of any
Oh, right. You just have no contradictions. That's right.
So apparently, I have more contradictions than average.
Yeah, the average points are 27.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm
No, this
33.
test is retarded. 100% certain.
Many examples.
100%
Like,
certain. I've taken philosophy for so long.
Oh, there it is.
Bullshit.
Okay, so my tensions. So we're gonna talk about the tensions now because I got 5 of them, and it's gonna tell me where I made a boo boo. So I said, let's see here, statement 10 and 23. So I said, is there an all good, all powerful God? I said, yeah. And then I also agreed that to allow an innocent child to suffer needlessly when one could easily prevent it is morally reprehensible. And somehow those two thoughts can't be held together.
Yeah, mine is statements 5 and 29. You agreed that the right to life is so fundamental that financial contributions are irrelevant in any effort to save lives, but disagreed that governments should be allowed to increase taxes to sharply save lives in the developing world. That's not right.
That's why I was saying that this questionnaire was asking questions that it wasn't being honest about. Because, when it says, for me, there exists an all-powerful, loving, and good God, what it's really saying is, you can't believe that there is an all-powerful, all-loving, and good God if there's suffering in the world. What, do you like suffering? So...
Well,
oh my god.
It's
this person doesn't know what medicine is.
If you believe in an all-powerful good God, then you would think that not helping an innocent child would be reprehensible.
Or, you would think that God set up the playground, and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that is even asserted in the Bible. Like, I don't think that there's ever been a religious belief that says, yeah, you just gotta let things happen the way they're gonna happen, because that's what God wants. You should just take your free will out of the equation. Free will is stupid. Fuck it. God's dumb.
What?
If triangles made a god, they would give him 3 sides.
Basically, what I'm
Charles de
saying, Liam,
Monkeys.
is if you believe in God, then you believe God gave us free will, and then you believe God gave us free will for a purpose. So to say that if you believe in God, it is reprehensible to stop suffering, no.
No, it's not. It's not reprehensible to stop suffering. It is reprehensible to let the suffering go on. Or did you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Awesome.
Mhm.
Because this quiz is saying the opposite. This quiz is saying if you believe God set this up, then you should just let it happen. So that's silly.
Oh,
Or I can only assume that's what they're saying. Yeah, it says right here, the problem is simple. If God is all-powerful, loving, and good, that means he can do what he wants, and he will do what is morally right. But surely this means that he would not allow an innocent child to suffer needlessly, as he could easily prevent it. Yet he does. Much infant suffering is the result of human action, but blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think this test is just dumb.
I like this test. It says I have a very consistent set of beliefs.
Yeah, but they're okay. So they have main questions that they split into two things which are not even related to one another. So it's like, can you put a price on a human life? And then it's like all this shit.
I love how they have these paragraphs explaining why
you're wrong. It's like, no, you're wrong.
Like, you can tell which ones they wrote first and which ones they were just trying to finish. Because, like, I got one where I said that individuals have sole rights over their own bodies, but I also said that voluntary euthanasia should remain illegal, although I didn't mean to click that. I think I meant to click that it should be legal.
Right.
Oh, okay.
What do they say?
So it was that one was just a mess up then.
Yeah, okay, and that's actually not the right one, so ignore everything I said. Where is it? This one, okay. I agree that proper sanitation and medicines are generally good for a society. What? But I also agree that homosexuality is wrong because it's unnatural.
What? Those are not related.
So
Those are
I
not
think
related.
you should poop in the toilet, but that you also shouldn't,
Well, wait, what's the reasoning for that?
You believe that something is wrong if it is unnatural, yet you believe that sanitation, medicine are good? But aren't these also unnatural? What is natural about sophisticated modern sewage systems and domestic supply of clean water? What is natural? You're just getting mad at me because I don't like the gays.
Exactly.
And I don't not like the gays. I think they're cool, but just shut the hell up, man. Like, stupid question. Bad.
Well, you wouldn't be getting mad at you for not liking the gays if you answered the other question differently.
Yeah, but that's
so I'm not sure if that's what it's doing.
But you can see what is going on here, right? So it poses a controversial question. Homosexuality is wrong because it's unnatural. But it also pairs that with a non-controversial question. One that we all agreed on. It does that so that it can retain the moral high ground. It's clearly defending the controversial statement by saying, if you disagree with my point of view on this controversial statement, then you also must disagree with the proper point of view on this non-controversial statement.
It's just trapping you, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's dumb.
So what's your review? What's your review of this?
0 out of 10.
3 stars.
3 stars. 3 out of 5 or 3 out of 10?
Just 3.
3. Okay, I give it like perfect out of 10 because I was perfect. I got a perfect score.
Yeah, that's pretty perfect.
Okay.
That was fun though. I think that our insights were a lot more interesting than the quiz's insights.
Yeah, it's more about the journey, not about the question. Or the destination.
Not about the destination.
Yeah, not the question. The question's important. For the destination, that's not as important.
Stupid destination. Idiot.
Freaking idiot. I think the destination's important. Okay, I'm done now.
I think this is just slowly devolving into a shit show.
Yeah.
Florian responded.
Oh.
He said, "Oh God, you have it 100% left to right? That's so annoying to listen to for headset users." So that's pretty good criticism there. Because,
I don't understand what he said.
Yeah, have you listened to one of our podcasts?
Maybe not.
The last probably 10 to 14 episodes. I've been putting it so our voices are coming out of the different speakers.
Yeah, no, he's totally right about that because I noticed that in the one about Jung that you guys did, but that was comedy gold.
Okay. So it's like having one devil on one ear and the angel on the other. But
Yeah.
who's the devil and who's the angel?
Oh god.
Who's the devil and
That
who's
is-
the angel?
So that's pretty good criticism.
Our audio's all fucked up, so yeah, that's fine.
It's like, oh, the guy that I've been waiting for a response all day finally responded. He said, I'm an idiot and my podcast sucks. So that's pretty good criticism.
Well, I was only waiting for like while we were recording.
just the way you framed it, but it's funny. No, it's good.
Nice.
Thanks for listening. It's cool.
Hey, how's it
Maybe we'll
going?
listen to this one. But you can try your best to make sure he doesn't, I guess. Jesus.
We'll just block him.
boy. So
No wrong opinions on my show.
you're playing hard to get.
My podcast is better than yours.
All right. Well, was there anything else we were gonna do in this episode?
No, you ranted your boomer opinions. I ranted
I
my
did a pretty-
liberal agenda. Liam
pretty
ranted
good
his
boomer job.
nihilism.
It was pretty mixed. I like that mix of opinions. It was actually pretty interesting how we agreed a lot more than I thought we would actually.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dude, everyone should
Yeah.
take this test together at the same time, the entire world, at the same time, in one Discord call.
Yeah. And then
all
we'll see
political
what
problems would be
everybody agrees
solved.
on.
Except for Nazis, they'd probably still be Nazis, but everybody else would be A-okay.
And Marxist.
And Marxists.
Marxism isn't real Marxism, never been tried. We don't know if it works.
Oh, boy.
Best system for non-humans. Aliens.
Is Marxism?
Could be. It's possible.
I guess. It's using that thing again. It could, that can happen.
Yeah,
They
Marxism
are
could
right.
be the ideal system, but not for us.
Yeah. Also, pigs could fly if they grew wings.
Yeah, they
Pigs
could.
maybe can grow wings if we do the right thing. I don't know.
Yeah, let's
But you can't
fucking
say
breed them
wrong.
with chickens, dude. We have so many of both. It's bound to work sometime. Just chicken, a little bit of pork, and there you go. You gotta find.
Are we still recording?
Yeah. All right. Okay. I think. Okay. This is episode 23 of the Degenerates podcast. Okay. Bye. See.